Perfect.
Bright Lights Podcast. I'm your host, Deegs, as always, joined by my two wonderful co-hosts, Mahoney.
I'm feeling pretty good right now, but could be better.
And PT.
What's up, world?
How we doing today, guys? How are you guys doing on this wonderful Tuesday afternoon?
Deegs, you take a guess, man. How do you think we're feeling?
You know what? I will say this. I was feeling really shitty earlier, but I'm feeling better.
No, yeah,
We'll get into it.
We'll be fine.
We feel better.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say this is probably going to be our best episode yet.
And we're probably going to have a lot more listeners, too.
This is going to be a really, really good episode, so make sure you listen to all of it because we're awesome. And, as always, I don't want to waste your time or our time. Mahoney, go ahead, buddy.
All right, so we got some news today. So I was hitting this morning, and I looked down on my phone, and I saw the news, and I had to sit down. I honestly had to sit down. I mean, Machado obviously signed with the Padres, and I will say, finally. Again, I'm not mad, not upset. I mean, I'm glad he didn't go to the fucking Yankees or something.
Oh, that'd be awful.
But Deegs, you're a Padres fan. I'm gonna pass this on to you and let you talk. You go ahead, have your time, buddy.
So I'm sitting in. Actually, I walked into my college 201 class, and I sit in the back of the room. So I walk to the back of the room, and I sit down, and I pull my laptop out, right, and I type in my password, Hosmer30. You guys know my whole fucking laptop password. Hack into me if you want. And I pull my phone out, and I see Jeff Passan tweets breaking, but I don't have a passcode on my phone, so when I just put my fingerprint on it, it unlocks.
Uh-huh.
So all I see is breaking. I don't see the news. So I go to Twitter, and I go to his tweet. I'm like, oh, this is going to be about the pitch clock or some stupid shit. And it says, breaking news, Padres signed Manny Machado. And I lost my shit, dude.
I had to reread it 30 times.
I'm sitting in class, and I'm just like, holy shit. And people are looking at me, and I run over to my friend that plays baseball. I'm like, dude, we got Machado. And my buddy works at the front desk. It's right outside my window, and I turn to him. I'm like, we got Machado, dude. We got him. Oh, man. I'm so happy. I've been like this all day. It's probably the greatest day of my life.
Yeah.
And yeah, dude. I mean, I don't want to talk about it too much, but we got Machado, man.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say.
Shit.
Now, obviously, implications of Machado signing with the Padres. Harper is going to get more than $300 million. That's guaranteed at this point.
For sure.
I don't know if you saw Kenny Williams, the senior VP of the White Sox or whatever. I don't know who he is.
I'm about to get into it for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, you guys can talk about the White Sox, but from a Padres perspective, same thing the Cubs did when they added their stars. Same thing the Astros did when they added their stars.
Yeah.
We got ours, baby.
The storm's coming, baby.
So happy.
So, some people know this, some people don't, but I have a White Sox Twitter page called Random White Sox Tweets.
Follow him, by the way.
Follow it. Yep, follow it. And I put on there today that I'm going to be doing a public service announcement for my White Sox. And I know a couple of my followers are probably going to be listening. All right, guys. I'm going to get real professional here, real polite. The White Sox honestly did do fuck that. They didn't do their best.
Okay. If you saw Ken Rosenthal's tweet, their offer was 8 years, $250 million, which is a higher.
With 350 being the incentives and everything. But this is what I've got to say. All right. 250, 8 years. Not a bad contract, but not what Machado wanted. And you know what? The Padres, great for them. They did what Machado wanted, and he signed with them. Reinsdorf and Kenny are the only two people to blame right now. Rick Hahn can't blame him. He doesn't have the checkbook. He just talks to him, gets him going and everything. Rick Hahn did the best that he could, and I could tell this morning in his presser that he was honestly pissed in that he even said, I'm going to spend the next couple hours just sitting alone being pissed off. And I could believe it too. I don't know if either of you guys saw the interview, but he looked like he was hungover and miserable. Kenny and Jerry, especially Jerry. Jerry, buddy, you're getting old.
He has two failing franchises
Two failing franchises in the Bulls and the White Sox. You needed to do something. Machado would have been perfect, right? Getting the wheels going. You offered him $250 over 8 with incentives being $350. Now Machado did want a $300+ million contract, so the $350, yes, that's over $300 million. He wanted guaranteed $300 million. We guaranteed $250 over 10 years. 8 years. We needed to get to that 300, and I don't see why we couldn't. I just don't see it. I mean, the Padres had a lot of money to spend. They did the right thing for sure. The White Sox have the money to spend. I don't know the numbers. I know the Padres and White Sox are really close, but I think the White Sox have less money on the books right now. Probably. Just Jerry, Kenny. Again, I like you guys. You guys need to figure it out. Obviously, now we got to turn to something. We're not getting Macharper. Almost did draft neck Mark. We need to get somebody. Again, I'm 100% positive we're not getting Harper, because if we weren't going to offer the $300+ to Machado, we're not going to offer it to Harper because we needed Machado. We don't need Harper. We needed that third baseman role. We don't need an outfield role. And that's what gets me into my public service announcement right here. We're going to be okay. I'm not scared. I'm not afraid that we're going to go down the tubes. Just like the Padres, we have one of the best farm systems in the league. We have guys coming up. Either way, we're better from last year. We're going to keep improving. Don't be one of those fans that just says, they didn't do anything. I'm not going to be a fan this year. Screw it. It's going to be okay. And I truly do believe that. And next year is going to be the year that we spend our money, hopefully. Again, Arenado's on the books. We're not going to get Arenado, so don't think about it. Arenado's going to resign with the Rockies. That's already in my mind. White Sox fans, we need to put negativity in our mind so when things happen, it'll be amazing. Cause
that is exactly what it's like being a Padres fan, dude. I just continuously shit on them.
And good things have happened.
And finally, we get our guy. Couple things real quick. Oh, fuck, what was I going to say? Okay, well, the one thing I was going to say is Eric Hosmer was interviewed earlier. And asked,
like today?
Today.
Yeah.
Today. And asked if he minded dropping down to number 2 on the Padres payroll, obviously, because Machado will be 1. And he said, gladly, I wouldn't mind dropping down to number 3 either. And then John Heyman tweeted, the Padres are still going after Harper. And I'm telling you right now, if they get Harper,
they're making the playoffs.
If they get Bryce Harper, my heart will explode. Like, it will be out of my body and onto wherever I'm at. It's not going to happen, I honestly think the Phillies are just going to offer him like $350 million just to get this shit over with.
Yep.
But if somehow they pull it off and they sign Bryce Harper, oh my God, please listen to that podcast because I will start crying on camera. Like, I will start crying on camera.
Yeah. Another thing I want to talk about, big question mark for the White Sox. John Jay and Yonder Alonso.
Yeah. I mean, you guys got them.
Let me take a drink real quick, but yeah, go ahead, Deeks.
I mean, yeah, you guys got them.
For Machado, but also, fans need to look at this. We had one of the worst outfields in the league last year with Leury Garcia being one of our mainstays. Adding John Jay helps us, no doubt about it. Yonder Alonso is going to be a good DH guy. So don't think of this as we didn't get Machado, so we lost those 2 deals. I mean, they're going to obviously – we lost 100 games last year. They're going to make us better in a lot of ways. And I'm telling you right now, that Jock Peterson trade is looking more and more likely as the day goes by, especially after not getting Machado, because the White Sox need to do something.
Yeah. I mean, you still have Marwin Gonzalez, too. You could add him. Keiko's still in the market. I mean, if they're interested in tapping into that. But, I mean, Machado for both of our teams was like a legitimate need. The Padres don't have a third baseman at all, ever. Like in there for like the next 5 years, they would have had nobody. And the White Sox obviously probably have Machado playing third now.
Yeah, it's what it's looking like.
Yeah, so Harper, I mean, he's a great player, but he was more of a luxury. Even if the White Sox do get him or San Diego gets him,
he doesn't fill a desperate need.
Yeah, but Machado fills a need, and obviously, anytime you get a guy who's probably the second best third baseman in all of baseball, behind Nolan Arenado, there's no complaining. I don't give a shit if he's 35 years old and he's making $30 million a year. I don't give a flying fuck. I really don't care, because what he does in his prime is going to be amazing. I'm so happy. But go ahead, let's talk about hockey and shit. I don't want to talk about baseball anymore.
All right, well, I will add one thing about baseball, and then we'll be done. Be ready, guys, for these next couple of weeks. Now that Machado's signed, the wheels are really going to start turning, and we're going to see guys like Gonzalez or even Martin Maldonado, Adam Jones. We're going to see those guys get signed. Adam Jones, maybe he'll wait until after Harper signs because he's an outfielder. But either way, the train's rolling. I mean, PT, do you have anything to say about this matter?
No, yeah, like I said, it hurt this morning. But after you think about it, man, it's not the end of the world. I'm happy for you, Deegs. I'm happy for the Padres, like we said. At least it's not the Yankees.
At least it's not the Yankees.
And,
if the Padres wouldn't have gotten Machado, it would have been the end of the world for me. I would have probably not watched some of their games this year.
Oh, by the way, we know the tweet about the hottest pepper.
We will be streaming that live for Bright Lights Podcast. So
we will definitely.
I need to figure out.
We're going to be together for this. I hope you know that. We have to
buy a Carolina Reaper pepper. I don't know.
Hey, they're like $15 online.
Okay, I'll have to get one then.
On the black market, you have to go to the black market to get it though.
Are you for real?
No.
Just playing.
Hey, if anybody listening grows Carolina Reapers, hey, let us know.
I'm so doing it. I'm doing it.
Yeah.
Nothing will stop me from eating that fucking pepper.
Yeah.
No, but another thing too, White Sox fans, stay alive.
Stay alive.
Yeah,
stay out.
Yeah.
Get up and get excited for this season.
White Sox fans
it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
We'll survive.
You still got to go to the games.
Yeah.
I mean, even if
we have Eloy coming up this year.
Yeah. Start looking forward to that.
White Sox news. Forgot about talking about this. Today got a little bit worse for White Sox fans. Top prospect Luis Basabe shattered his hand bone. He's out for 12 weeks, so that kind of hurts a little bit. Kind of just making matters worse today. Again, it's February 19th, 12 months. He'll miss maybe a month of the season. He's out 4 to 6 weeks, and they said he'll be back to normal for baseball in 12 weeks. So not the end of the world. So, yeah, I just want to throw that little tidbit out there. Now time to talk about the Blackhawks, who have literally been giving me heart palpitations lately. Yeah. So we're 1 point out of the wild card right now. We've got some huge games coming up. So let's start off with the Columbus game, which was the last time we podcasted. That game was that night, and we lost 5-2. It was a terrible game for the Blackhawks. Again, started out hot. And then
they just lose their mentality. They just get soft.
Yeah, they do.
Not
they
physical,
just get soft.
And it's just damn.
But the biggest takeaway from the Columbus game is Panarin scored 2 goals to beat the Hawks. Panarin, again, one of the biggest trade pieces at the deadline. He even said in an interview how he misses Chicago and how he misses his best friend Patrick Kane. So
best friend. They
were even passing the puck to each other during warm-ups and taking shots together. So, hey, Stan Bowman, fucking do something and trade for him, please.
Dude, Patrick Kane has been playing out of his complete mind this year.
Yeah,
give him something.
Yeah,
give him a reward. Come on, Bowman, give him a reward.
Give him the reward. Now let's go to last night's shit show of a performance, even though we came out with a win.
Whew.
We won 8-7 in a hockey game. 15 goals, that's a shit ton for a hockey game.
Ooh.
I called him out last podcast. I'm doing it again. I'm going to start calling him Dumbass Delia if he doesn't get his shit together. We were all excited about him signing that 3-year extension. And since then, he has been nothing but absolute dog shit. We would be better getting the accountant that played as an emergency goaltender last year to goaltend this year because he's being an ass. So, he got pulled in the first period after giving up, I think it was 3 goals in like 10 minutes. Again, the Ottawa goalie was awful too. He got pulled. But, I mean, Jesus. You're supposed to be the future of this team as a goaltender. And as Blackhawks fans, we've had some great goaltenders over the years with Corey Crawford, who also, by the way, is on his way back and possibly a trade candidate at the deadline. I mean, again, I'm beyond excited that we won, but we just got to play better against, especially against Ottawa, who right now is one of the worst teams in the league. And when I mean one of the worst, they are absolute dog shit.
They are. I thought we talked. They are.
They are.
The
I think
team.
they are the worst team in the league. But we have got some huge fucking games coming up. We play Detroit tomorrow. That's a big game, rivalry game. Now this game right here, we play them on Friday. The Avalanche at home. The Avalanche and the Hawks are going back and forth for this final wild card spot. And if we win this game, it's going to be fucking huge. We need to win this game. Again, we're only 1 point out. Hawks, do it, baby. Get the city of Chicago excited. Yeah, so, Deegs, you want to talk hockey? Got any hockey talk? Any San Diego Gulls stuff?
I hope the Blackhawks win the fucking Stanley Cup because the Padres got Machado.
We need that. We appreciate that.
Let's have some happiness in Chicago. Let's get Panarin. Let's have a little something come to Chicago.
Well, because Panarin is definitely out of the door. The Blue Jackets GM did confirm that he's going to be the first one out the door. So let's hope. Let's hope
and pray, baby.
Let's hope and pray.
Like we said, a little bit of negativity. We're not getting them, so screw it, dude.
Yeah, we're probably not going to get them, but we're nothing like hoping. So yeah, I mean that pretty much does it with hockey. And now
dun 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 dun.
The NFL first round mock draft that we have decided to put together. It's been in the works for a little bit. We keep fucking it up, but how long have you said we've been playing this? 2-3 weeks?
Probably when the season ended, we're like, can we do something football for once?
Yeah, so we did our first round mock drafts.
These are bare bone drives.
Yeah.
Just kind of walking in the dark right now.
Kind of just walking in the dark, giving our opinion.
So, like, our plan, at least my plan for this has been we do one now. We do one after the combine.
Yep.
Because then you get more accurate readings, and then possibly do one right before the draft after there's been trades and stuff. Typically, there's not really
people could get hurt. Yeah, we have seen that already. Yeah,
stuff like Marquise Brown, Antonio Brown's cousin, he got hurt, so I had to drop him a little bit. But I mean, so this is just going to be bare bone. Our first impressions. We have no combine measurements. We have no pro day stuff. This is just all what we think is going to be. It'll probably suck. All of them. I mean.
Oh, it's going to be rough, but we'll get through it together, guys.
We'll probably get most of these picks wrong, but just something fun we wanted to do, something football related, since we don't have a lot of stuff going on. Real quick before we get into this, shout out to my San Diego Fleet. First W on Sunday night.
Shout out Fleet. Shout out to Fleet.
Actually, you know what? Sticking with the AAF, you see the guy already sold it.
He didn't sell it.
What did he do?
They got a $250 million investment from a guy from the Carolina Hurricanes or whatever owner.
Yeah.
Yeah, he invested $250 million to be part of the ownership group for the AAF.
Oh, okay.
PT, hey, let's go in on normal order. PT Mahoney, me. I mean, we'll probably explain some of these, probably not.
Yeah. We'll touch on some of this stuff. Some teams really kind of have some big needs and stuff. But this first one, we'll start out with the first pick. Cardinals had the first pick. There's been a lot of talk about Kyler Murray possibly being the first pick due to his connection with Cliff Kingsbury.
Definitely.
I don't see it. I think Nick Bosa is the best player in the draft. He's going to get picked there. He fills a ton of holes, even though the Cardinals don't really need that much. But he's just going to be a pass rusher. It's going to be unreal. And the Cardinals have Josh Rosen too, so it's going to be interesting.
Right, so, I agree with Nick Bosa. Again, I don't think that they're going to get Kyler Murray. Again, they have Josh Rosen. I just think Nick Bosa is the best option.
I think it would be incredibly stupid for them to draft Kyler Murray. He's probably for me, he's not the best quarterback in his class, but some people might view him as the best quarterback in his class. They just took a guy last year, top 10 pick, Josh Rosen.
Yep.
Shun him all you want. Cardinals offensive line, awful. Last year, offensive weapons really weren't that good. You could make a case for Larry Fitzgerald, but he's like 40. So, when you surround a young quarterback with no offensive weapons, you're kind of fucked. So, again, I'll go with Nick Bosa too. Get a guy who, had he played this whole season, would be the consensus number one pick. He's insane. He's so good. In my opinion, going to be better than his brother, Joey Bosa, who's one of the best pass rushers in the league. So you can go get that guy, put him on the other side of Chandler Jones, and you get a really, really good pass rush for the next few years.
Yeah, so going to the second pick, the 49ers.
Yeah, the 49ers. So another team that kind of was hurt by injuries this year. Josh Allen, an edge rusher from Kentucky. He's just an animal, dude. And to line him up opposite of Buckner will be a really dangerous thing for offensive lines to deal with. So I think the 49ers will draft Josh Allen, edge rusher from Kentucky.
Yeah, so Deegs, Kentucky guy. The 49ers need an edge rusher, and Allen is one of the best in the draft at this point. So, I think Josh Allen would fit perfectly.
I love Josh Allen. I'm a big Josh Allen guy. Think he's super underrated for how good of a season he had. I don't have the Niners taking him. I have them taking Quinnen Williams, D tackle, Alabama. Highest graded defensive player ever to come out of college football by Pro Football Focus, which is pretty reliable. I kind of dig their ratings. He's a monster, athletic freak for how he is. Stops a run, gets after the pass rusher. You're looking at a guy who is Aaron Donald, or has the potential to be Aaron Donald with a bigger body and a better at stopping the run.
Definitely.
So, I could definitely see Josh Allen here, but I'm just going to go with Quinnen Williams.
Yeah, so now going to the third pick of the NFL draft, the New York Jets.
Yeah, so you were saying Quinnen Williams he's an animal. There's not much need for him on the Jets for that area, but he's just an animal and he's too good to pass up. I think they can't pass up on him. Like he said, he's an animal, and the Jets will probably end up drafting him.
Yeah, so I actually have Ed Oliver, defensive tackle from Houston. He just dominates and he terrorizes centers. He'd be a great fit for New York.
Yeah, I have Josh Allen going here just because I think whoever doesn't go at second between him or Williams will go at third. I have some concerns with Josh Allen's actual pass rushing abilities. I think if he gets drafted by a team that runs a 4-3, he's kind of fucked. So the Jets with their new scheme going to a 3-4, put him at outside linebacker, kind of like what Pittsburgh does with T.J. Watt. He's really, 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 really good in coverage for an outside linebacker. So put him on some tight ends, some slot receivers. Josh Allen's incredible. I know he had 17 sacks this year, but just the pass rushing moves for me aren't NFL ready yet. He got away with it in college because he's a freak of an athlete and he's just more athletic than the guys he was going up against. But if he develops pass rush moves, he's going to be a 20-plus sack Von Miller kind of player every single year for his career. So, I think he's really good and just needs a little bit more fine-tuning to be elite.
I got you. All right, now we'll move to the fourth pick.
The fourth pick of the NFL draft, the Oakland Raiders.
Thank you, Mahoney. I think the Raiders will draft Brian Burns, edge rusher from Florida State. They need help, dude. After trading Mack, they had no pass rush whatsoever. He'll be a huge addition to the defensive line in Oakland, and I think that he will help them out a lot. So
So in this draft, I have the Raiders going very defensive heavy, but for their fourth pick, I think they're going to go with Jonah Williams, offensive tackle from Alabama. Jonah Williams would be a long-term starter, and that's exactly what the Raiders need, and he definitely has experience with Alabama.
Yeah, if you guys don't know, Oakland has 3 first-round picks this year.
Mhm.
I have them kind of addressing their defensive needs later on in the draft. I have them taking DK Metcalf, wide receiver, Ole Miss.
Oh, wow, yeah.
If you haven't seen that picture of how absolutely massive this dude is, he's huge. He's fucking huge. I've seen a lot of comparisons to Josh Gordon coming out of Baylor. Without the off-the-field concerns, obviously, DK Metcalf doesn't have any off-the-field issues. Massive guy, 6'3". If he runs anything under, if he runs 4.4 under at the combine, for me, he's a top 5 pick because he's jacked as hell. He's a phenomenal athlete. Was injured last year at Ole Miss, so that's why his numbers aren't too great. But you trade away Amari Cooper, which was, in my opinion, a bad trade after seeing what Cooper did in Denver or in Dallas. You have to get that outside guy for Derek Carr, whoever your quarterback's going to be, because right now Jordy Nelson and Seth Roberts aren't going to get that done for you. Go ahead and take the best wide receiver in this draft class, in my opinion. Freak of a nature, could potentially be one of the best receivers in football one day if he develops into what he could be.
Yeah, definitely. So now with the 5th pick of the draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, the Buccaneers also have some defensive issues. They possibly might be moving away from Gerald McCoy. So in this sense, I'll be thinking that the Bucs will be taking Ed Oliver, defensive tackle out of Houston. Like I said, if they're moving away from McCoy, they'll definitely need some more help on that defensive line. So that's why I had them taking Ed Oliver out of Houston.
Yeah, definitely sticking with the Buccaneers, moving on from Gerald McCoy possibly. I have Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle from Alabama. I feel like he'd be a great replacement. Again, I have back-to-back Alabama picks.
Yeah, for the Bucs, obviously they need a lot of things. Not really that good of a team on a lot of parts of the football. You could look at tackle, keeping up whoever their quarterback is. Jonah Williams would be a really good pick here for a tackle. Like you said, if they cut Gerald McCoy, I could really see them going D-tackle. For me, that's why I think it's really important that we do one right before the draft because of all the cuts, the free agent signings, where people sign. That's why that will definitely affect who people take. Right now, without Gerald McCoy getting cut, I think they need to improve that secondary, and I had them taking Greedy Williams, cornerback at LSU. Guys like 6'2", 6'3", probably the best cornerback in this draft class, could potentially be a true lockdown corner, something that the Bucs haven't had in a really, really, really long time since they won the Super Bowl back in the day. So I got Greedy Williams going there, but I 100% see the 2 guys that you guys have going here, depending on what happens with Gerald McCoy and such.
Yeah, definitely. So now we go to the 6th pick of the NFL draft, the New York Giants.
Now we haven't usually in the past we see a lot of quarterbacks come off the board. Now I'm going to start taking a quarterback off the board. I believe he's the best in the draft. The Giants are kind of going to be starting to move away from Eli Manning. I have the Giants taking Dwayne Haskins out of Ohio State. I believe he's the best quarterback available all around in the draft. And I feel like he would be a good replacement behind Eli Manning when he finally decides to hang up the cleats.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with the Dwayne Haskins pick. That's who I have. I mean, the Eli era is coming to an end, so it's time to move on. And I think they definitely needed to draft a quarterback this year.
I also have them taking Dwayne Haskins. The Giants are in a pretty weird situation because obviously this quarterback class really isn't that good. They could potentially stick it out with Eli again, tank, get a topper pick next year, and get a guy like Tua or Herbert or someone like that. But I think they should take Haskins. He's pro ready, really good. He's not a guy that makes a lot of mistakes, really good decision maker. His completion percentage was super high last year. Takes the easy pass instead of forcing a really tough one. So he's the best quarterback in the draft class, in my opinion. And I think you go out and let Dwayne Haskins sit behind a guy who, say what you want about Eli, he's a really good quarterback. He has been a really good quarterback throughout his career. Get that 1 year of mentorship. Eli hangs it up, and then he takes over as a starter for the Giants.
Yeah, so now we go to the 7th pick of the draft, the Jacksonville Douchebags.
All right, the douchebags will be drafting Drew Lock, quarterback out of Mizzou. I think the Jags need to move on from Blake Bortles. He's done. You kind of saw last year they had no idea what they were doing. They were starting him and then sitting him and then starting him and sitting him. They need to find a solid quarterback. I think Drew Lock is a solid quarterback. He might have a couple of questions on what he's able to do in the NFL, but I think that they will definitely try to also draft a quarterback. I think Drew Lock is the second best quarterback in the draft, so I think they'll pick him.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I also have Drew Lock getting picked. Again, they need to draft a quarterback. Blake Bortles is done. I don't see them taking Kyler Murray just yet. I think Kyler Murray is going to fall a little bit further into the draft, but yeah, they're going to get a good quarterback out of Drew Lock.
This is again why that third mock draft is going to be so important, because I could definitely see Jacksonville going out and getting a guy like Nick Foles to come in instead of drafting a quarterback.
True. Yep.
But I haven't been taking Kyler Murray. You look at all the PFF grades and take that with however you want to look at it, but he's their number one quarterback for a very good reason. Obviously, Kyler Murray's super athletic. His calling card has been his running game. Needs to develop as a passer better, and I don't think that Jacksonville is probably the ideal situation for him, because he'd have to start right away, which I don't think is good. But, I mean, if he does have to start right away, you pair him with Leonard Fournette and that defense, turn it into a run-first offense, not make him throw the ball more than 20 times a game, and you could potentially see the Jags being what Baltimore was this year, a ground-and-pound team. Just a good defense. So we'll see what they do, but if they're going to take a quarterback, I think it's going to be Kyler Murray, just because they have the ability to be exactly what Baltimore was with him and Fournette.
Yeah, I definitely agree. So now we're going to go to the number 8 pick of the draft, the Detroit Lions.
Now, I'm going to throw a little wrench into the game. I believe that now that the Dolphins, also with kind of a quarterback situation going on too, is going to start seeing all these quarterbacks flying off the board and get a little antsy. So I believe they'll call the Lions, try to get traded up. We'll see. I mean, like, this is another thing you can just throw in. So I'm going to have the Dolphins trade up to the Lions, switch spots. I don't know what else they could give. But I had them taking Kyler Murray, like you said. He's in a freak of nature. He has some questions coming in. He'll have a great draft day or pro day. He's gonna wow a lot of people. He will be like the Baker in this draft, of like Baker was in last. So he's gonna have some questions. Like I said, but I think the Dolphins will get a little antsy and try to get Kyler or another quarterback as fast as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see that as a possibility. But I have the Lions drafting Brian Burns, edge rusher from Florida State University. He's very strong in his position, and he has the body type to even get stronger, which would definitely help the Lions out.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a team in this top 10, in my opinion, to trade that Miami or Washington or anybody that's going to draft a quarterback to trade up for, it would be the Lions, just because obviously they don't need a quarterback. They have a lot of different needs around them. Getting more draft capital might be appealing to them. I have them selecting Rashawn Gary out of Michigan. Keep the Detroit guy in Detroit. He's a perfect fit for that Matt Patricia offense or defense. Had he stayed healthy this year for the whole year, video game like numbers when this guy's healthy, he's going to have a phenomenal combine. You're going to see him run like a 4.5, 4.6, put up crazy numbers on the bench press, the vertical jump. He's a really good athlete when he's healthy. And I think you could play him in a 3-4, 4-3. He'll be fine either way. So I think Detroit takes Rashawn Gary here. Perfect scheme fit.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Now going to the 9th pick of the draft, the Buffalo Bills.
All right, the 9th pick. I think that the Bills have a great quarterback in Josh Allen. I think that their offensive line could definitely be upgraded. So I'm going to take Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill.
Jonah Hill has been drafted. Jonah Williams, offensive tackle out of Alabama. He's like they've said that he's going to be there in the NFL for a long time. He'll be also a great addition to be protecting Josh Allen.
Yeah, and kind of sticking with the whole protecting a young Josh Allen, I have them picking Cody Ford, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma. Again, Josh Allen's young, doesn't need to be getting pounded every 3 snaps. So, yeah, they need to protect him.
Yeah, I mean, you get your franchise quarterback last year. You got to keep him upright. Most important, arguably other than quarterback, the most important position on the offensive side of the football is left tackle. So I have them taking Jonah Williams at Alabama. Mahoney, you mentioned earlier, experienced player, played at Alabama, obviously. Anytime you played at Alabama, you're going to be a higher-up prospect on any list. I think he's the best tackle in this class, and you have to get Josh Allen some protection to keep him upright to protect your franchise quarterback.
Yeah, so now we're going to go to the 10th pick of the draft, the Denver Broncos.
There's been a lot of talk that the Broncos will kind of been thinking about with their quarterbacks and all this. Obviously, now they traded for Flacco. I think that they feel somewhat comfortable with him. I don't think they'll be drafting a quarterback this early. I think they're going to get Byron Murphy, cornerback out of Washington. Those cornerbacks that come out of Washington are really good. I think they definitely could help out the secondary in Denver. Vic Fangio will have fun with him for sure.
Yeah, sticking with Vic Fangio, again, defensive guy. I think they're also going to get Byron Murphy, the cornerback out of Washington. Again, just their defense was pretty strong last year. Adding a cornerback, an elite cornerback to that defense will make it even better, and it'll play to Vic Fangio's strengths.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you have a defensive-minded head coach drafting, probably going to lean towards drafting a defensive guy in the first round. I also have him taking Byron Murphy, second best, actually third best corner in this class, in my opinion. A really good athlete. He's going to light the combine on fire when he runs that 40-yard dash. He's really fast. Denver has some question marks in their secondary. Now they're no longer shut down like they used to be. Chris Harris is getting older. They're losing Bradley Roby potentially in free agency. So you go out and get Byron Murphy, a guy that can play on the outside, play in the slot, add him into what was once an elite secondary, and you keep getting younger. That's really good. And I think, like you guys said, Vic Fangio is really smart defensively, so he'll find a way to get him utilized in there.
Yeah, definitely. So now we're going to go to the 11th pick, the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah, the Bengals have kind of iffy offensive line. They need someone to protect Andy Dalton. So I'm going to take the offensive tackle out of Oklahoma, Cody Gary. He'll be also in the NFL for a long time, and he'll be protecting Andy Dalton pretty well. So he'll be taking an offensive tackle.
Yeah, again, I agree with PT. They need to get an offensive tackle or really anything to improve that terrible offensive line. Dalton's going to need time to throw, so I have them taking Japan Taylor from Florida. He had a great season this past year. So, yeah, I think that'll be a great pick for them.
Yeah, I have them going defensive side of the football, taking Devin White, middle linebacker out of LSU. Thankfully, today, the Bengals cut Vontaze Burfict. And, yeah, I mean, Devin White is a perfect fit for them. He's a really good player. Probably the best linebacker in this class. He's a surefire tackler. So I have them taking Devin White. Why the fuck you guys laughing?
His name is Jawan.
So his name is Jawan Taylor. Auto-corrected it to Japan Taylor, so I apologize for that.
Did you say Japan Taylor?
Yeah. So, now going to the 12th pick of the draft, the Green Bay Packers.
All right. The Packers' defensive line deteriorated last year. A lot of injuries, a lot of question marks. I think they're going to address that. Excuse me if I pronounce his name wrong. Saleen Farrell, I believe it is, defensive end out of Clemson. He was a monster for Clemson this year, and he definitely is going to add a pass rush that the Packers desperately need in the NFC North.
Yeah, again, definitely agree with PT. I have them also taking Farrell from Clemson. He proved himself big time, and the Packers need to improve that shitty defense.
Yeah, I also have them taking Clellan.
Oh, Clellan? I apologize.
Out of Clemson. Obviously, if you guys follow college football, Clemson elite front seven defense has been the last 4 years. This guy was the main reason because of it. He's a stud. Arguably has the potential to be the best pass rusher in this draft class. So I'm going to take Farrell here. The Packers need edge with Clay Matthews probably coming off the books and their pass rush being terrible. Their defense sucks. And, yeah, I got Farrell coming off the board here at 12 to Green Bay.
Yeah, so now we have the 13th pick, which is the Dolphins, but PT has traded. And this is the Lions
This
pick
is the
for
Lions
him.
for me. Okay, the Lions. So since I had the Lions here, also the Lions' defensive line was also a little iffy this whole year. I have them taking Rashawn Gary, defensive lineman out of Michigan. He created havoc this year on Michigan's defensive line, and he'll definitely fuck some shit up for the Lions.
Yeah, he will definitely fuck some shit up. I have the Dolphins taking Kyler Murray. They definitely need a quarterback, and I just feel like he just is a Miami kind of guy, you know?
Yeah, man. If that's what you want, you think.
That is what I think.
I have Miami possibly getting the best player in this draft class when it's all said and done 5 years at Oliver out of Houston. everything that I see from Ed Oliver, to me, is the same thing that if you go back and look at Aaron Donald's tape coming out of Pitt, I see a lot of similarities with that. So you get a guy who could potentially be Aaron Donald at 13 in the draft class. Big time move for Miami. Hopefully shores up their defensive line with Cameron Wake getting older. And, yeah, I mean, just a really good pick. Good value.
Yeah, and now we're going to go to the 14th pick, the Atlanta Falcons.
All right, now Matt Ryan was under a ton of pressure this year. The Falcons' offensive line was kind of hard garbage this year. So I'm going to take offensive lineman Dalton Risner out of Kansas State. Like I said, he will be adding much-needed protection for Matt Ryan this year.
Yeah, again, me and PT, same pick. I promise we did not do this together. I don't know why we have so many picks. But, yeah, the Falcons just need to do better in pass protection. So, Deeks, what is your pick?
I agree with you guys. Offensive line, they need to address that. Could potentially see them doing that later on in the draft. I have them taking edge rusher Ja'Kai Polite out of Florida. Freak of an athlete, Ja'Kai Polite. Had a really good season with the Florida Gators this year. Add to that pass rush. They kind of struggled last year without Vic Beasley. You're losing Grady Jarrett. I know he plays on the inside, but anytime you can get a guy who could potentially be a high-level edge rusher at this level, pair him with Takk McKinley, Vic Beasley, and that's a really good pass rush going forward for the Packers or for the Falcons.
Yeah, going to the 15th pick, the Washington Redskins.
Yeah, so the Redskins kind of had a tragic accident happen to Alex Smith. Like I said, we've kind of shouted him before, and that he definitely, we have him in our prayers. They're kind of at a struggle right here because they don't know his possible future. I think that they're going to have to draft a quarterback. They might be aggressive and trade up to try to get someone better. But right now, I've already taken 3 quarterbacks out. Daniel Jones is probably the next best up. Quarterback out of Duke. Like I said, he could be in contention for the starting quarterback job, not knowing Alex Smith's future.
And again, me and PT have the same pick with Daniel Jones, quarterback from Duke. Smith's a big question mark. And I think this would be a low-risk pick. I mean, yeah, so.
I also have them taking a quarterback here. Alex Smith is not going to play this year, in my opinion. Colt McCoy sucks. And Josh Johnson, as much as I love him, is not the answer. I have them taking Drew Lock out of Missouri. Drew Lock undoubtedly by far has the best arm in this draft class. That's probably the only good thing, in my opinion, of Drew Lock. I don't think he's a starting caliber quarterback at the NFL level. If he can hone his arm, this guy has like Josh Allen levels of arm talent. If he can be more accurate with that, and in the short game too, he could be a really good. He could be an average starting quarterback, but I mean, if I was Washington, I tank this year out, roll with Colt McCoy, roll with Josh Johnson, pick someone off the streets to play quarterback, Get Tua, get someone next year that could be your franchise quarterback. I don't think they'll do that personally. I think they'll take Drew Lock, so that's why I have this pick here.
I mean, they were in contention for a while.
Exactly, but before Smith got hurt, they
went down the drain. Yeah. So now with the 16th pick of the draft, we have the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah. So with everyone knows, I have a special place in my heart for Julius Peppers. He retired this year. They're going to be missing another edge rusher, so I'm going to have them taking Montez Sweat, edge rusher out of Mississippi State. Peppers was a big role on any defensive line that he played for, and I think Sweat will be a huge filling for that spot.
Yeah, I definitely agree that they need a replacement for Julius Peppers. I have them taking Rashawn Gary out of Michigan. Gary was a defensive lineman, or he was a defensive tackle at Michigan, but I definitely think that he has the possibility to move to edge rusher and really be an effective edge rusher in the NFL.
I have Carolina taking Deontay Thompson out of Alabama, a number 1 safety in this draft class, in my opinion. Their secondary is really old, and you just get younger at a position of need, bolster up that secondary, bolster up that defense, and hopefully get back to what they once were, which is a really good team down in Carolina.
Yeah, now going to the 17th pick, the up and rising Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, so like we said, up and rising, Baker Mayfield, Jarvis Landry, Nick Chubb, it's getting very scary. Like Diego mentioned earlier, that DK Metcalf is a monster. I think that he would be a huge filling spot on the outside for the Browns, a huge target for Baker Mayfield. It'd be scary trying to focus on Metcalf and Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Metcalf is going to go to the Browns. Again, he compares to Josh Gordon. Why not replace Gordon with a very, very similar DK Metcalf?
I have the Browns taking Dexter Lawrence, defensive lineman, out of Clemson, right up there with Cleveland Farrell, the best defensive player to come out of that Clemson front seven. Got suspended for the college football playoffs, so there is that off-the-field problem. But when he plays, he's a really good run stopper. He gets after the quarterback from the interior, and I think that is the only position of need for the Browns. You had that guy, another young, again, Browns, ton of young talent to that defensive core, which was really good last year. And you got something brewing there in Cleveland.
Yeah, definitely agree. Now we're going to go to the 18th pick, the Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, so as we're talking, I know I'm a big Bears fan, so I know how the Vikings offensive line struggled a little bit this year protecting Cousins. I think they'll add a nice little guy, Jawan Taylor, offensive tackle out of Florida. I think he'll improve that offensive line really well, and he'll be a good fit in Minnesota.
Yeah, sticking with the offensive line, it was absolute dog shit for the Vikings this year. I have them taking Chris Lindstrom, offensive lineman out of Boston College. I think he would fit in perfect. Again, they need to give Kirk Cousins more time to throw. That was one of their biggest problems last year. And I think doing this would improve it greatly.
I have Minnesota, again, offensive line struggles are a common theme here between the three of us. I also have them taking Jawan Taylor out of Florida. I think he's the second best tackle in this draft class. You pay Kirk Cousins all that money, you got to be able to keep him upright and protect him so that your team can have success. And yeah, I mean, Jawan Taylor slides in immediately, probably starts day one and bolsters that Titans offensive line.
Yeah, or Vikings offensive line.
Line.
So now going to the 19th pick, the Tennessee Titans.
Tennessee Titans, their offense was kind of at a question mark last year. Marcus Mariota was kind of struggling a little bit. Corey Davis didn't have as big as years everyone would think would have had so far. I think that's where they're going to add Marquise Brown, wide receiver out of Oklahoma. He's going to be a perfect fit in that offense. He's going to line up next to Corey Davis and be another solid target for Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I also have them picking Brown, the wide receiver out of Oklahoma. He's one of the fastest players in the draft, and he would be a great weapon for Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, I definitely like the pick. I could see them addressing receiver later on, definitely. I have them going T.J. Hawkinson, tight end out of Iowa. Their tight ends, Delaney Walker, was good. He's old now. Not sure about Jonnu Smith. So, I mean, you get the most complete tight end in this class in T.J. Hawkinson. Guy is really good run blocker, which obviously you need it in that power scheme, power run offense that Tennessee likes to run. And he can catch the ball. Really good addition, in my opinion, to this Titans offense that hopefully, if Mariota can stay healthy, can right the ship and continue to compete for a playoff spot.
Yeah, definitely. Now the next pick, the 20th pick, Deegs Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, so Deegs for your Pittsburgh Steelers, man. Your secondary is a little struggling a little bit, just a wee bit. I think they're going to add Greedy Williams, cornerback out of LSU. I think you'd really like that a lot. He's a bad man. Yeah,
and I have the Steelers taking Montez Sweet, edge out of Mississippi State. Again, I think he'd make an immediate impact for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I mean, Pittsburgh's in a really weird situation where they can go a lot of ways. They can go receiver to fill in Antonio Brown's spot. They can go outside linebacker / edge rusher to fill in for Bud Dupree. I have them going DeAndre Baker out of Georgia, the cornerback. I think he's the second best cornerback in this draft class behind Greedy Williams. Guy's physical. He's a little undersized. He's not the best athlete, but really good ball skills, really physical cornerback. And I think that if he slides in right in there day one, competes with Artie Burns for the starting job. Are we just let's just run through our last picks because the Steelers, the 20th pick is the last pick for non-playoff teams. So we're just gonna each give you our recap for the next. What is it, 12 picks instead of going in depth?
Yeah, so PT, you go ahead.
You just want me to read all mine off, or are we just going to still go in order?
No, I mean, yeah, we'll just do like Mahoney, like PT,
gotcha.
Give your Seahawks pick.
The 21st pick of the NFL draft, the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, Devin White, linebacker out of LSU.
Devin Bush, linebacker out of Michigan.
Brian Burns, edge rusher out of Florida State.
The 22nd pick, the Baltimore Ravens.
Kelvin Harmon, wide receiver, NC State.
Riley Ridley, wide receiver, Georgia.
N'Keal Harry, wide receiver, Arizona State.
The 23rd pick, the Houston Texans.
Chris Lindstrom, offensive line, Boston College.
Greg Little, offensive tackle, Ole Miss.
Dalton Reisner, offensive lineman, Kansas State.
The 24th pick of the NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders.
From Chicago, Devin Bush, linebacker, Michigan.
Devin White, linebacker, LSU.
Montez Sweat, outside linebacker / edge rusher out of Mississippi State.
25th pick, Philadelphia Eagles.
Ja'Kai Polite, edge rusher, Florida.
Mack Wilson, linebacker, Alabama.
Greg Little, offensive lineman out of Ole Miss.
The 26th pick, the Indianapolis Colts.
Nasir Ardley, safety, Delaware.
Nasir Adderley, safety, Delaware.
Trayvon Mullen, cornerback, Clemson.
With the 27th pick of the NFL Draft, the Oakland Raiders select
TJ Hawkinson, tight end, Iowa.
Jerry Tillery, defensive tackle, the Notre Dame.
Devin Bush, linebacker, Michigan.
The 28th pick of the NFL Draft, the San Diego Padres.
The San Diego Padres. The Los Angeles Chargers.
The Los Angeles Chargers select
Jerry Tillery, defensive tackle, Notre Dame.
Ja'Kai Polite. Where am I? Florida.
Christian Wilkins, defensive lineman, Clemson.
The 29th pick, the Kansas City Chiefs select
Mack Wilson, linebacker, Alabama.
Trey Lamar, Clemson.
Nasir Adderley, out of Delaware.
The 30th pick of the NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select
Noah Fant, tight end, Iowa.
TJ Hawkinson, tight end, Iowa.
Noah Fant, tight end, Iowa.
And now the 31st pick of the NFL Draft, the Los Angeles Rams.
Deontay Thompson, safety, Alabama.
Deontay Thompson, safety, Alabama.
Jeffrey Simmons, Mississippi State, edge rusher.
With the 32nd pick and final pick of this first round of the NFL Draft 2019, the New England Patriots select
Riley Ridley, wide receiver, Georgia.
Kelvin Harmon, wide receiver, North Carolina State.
Marquise Hollywood Brown, Oklahoma.
And that does it for this year's first round NFL Draft 2019. Hope to see you tomorrow for the second round.
Is that all we're doing? Yeah, we're good?
I mean, do you want to talk about Antonio Brown?
No.
Okay.
No, he doesn't want to.
All right. So, yeah. That does it. You do the outro because we can't talk.
Our wonderful 17th episode of Bright Lights Podcast. If you made it this far, shout out to the 18. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're on LinkedIn now, if you guys were wondering.
Yep.
MySpace. We're on Kick. You can message us on Kick.
Kick, yep.
We're fucking everywhere. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube,
Tinder.
literally everywhere. Tinder, we are on Tinder. Yeah, swipe right.
Yep.
Thanks for watching. As always, stay tuned we have a lot of really good content coming out with baseball starting. And have a good one, guys.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night.
Perfect.